I can always edit this one afterwards. Right, are you ready, guys?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, sure,
Okay, I'll press the blue button now.
Sitting for half an hour.
Ready?
Fair enough.
3. I'm pressing it.
We don't matter if it's on. Good evening, everyone.
Welcome, everyone.
We're just going to give it a few minutes to let the audience build, because we've seen in the past that when we do a Facebook Live,
People join halfway through when we're talking.
yeah, we don't want to do all the introductions, and the majority of our audience have missed it. So we'll just give it a couple of minutes to let a few viewers get on board. Obviously, Facebook will be doing its magic and sending out notifications to everyone saying that we're now live. But sometimes people need to get comfy, maybe get a pad and paper.
So get some drinks, get ready, get comfortable, just take a seat, and enjoy the ride of EKM today. We've got quite a lot to talk about. Obviously, the two big points is, well, it's based around paid traffic and SEO. So this is basically how your business can basically get traffic and the different ways we can get it to it. So whether it's free, whether it's paid, we're going to talk about the pros, the cons, and find out sort of what is the best way to get people to your site.
Yeah, we want this to be an interactive session. It's the first time we've ever tried any props, so we're hoping that you can see what we've done on it. And we're going to be going through a few examples.
Yeah.
We've got Shannon behind the scenes. You've probably seen her on stuff like e-commerce news and our social channels. She's going to be kind of managing the comments, so feel free to say hi. Any questions she'll pass on to us, so we'll answer them where appropriately, and we'll go through those. And yeah, if there's any kind of questions you've got around the topics we're talking about, feel free to make a comment on there, and as I say, Shannon will pass them on.
Yeah. If you do have any questions which aren't related to this specifically, you can still leave them, of course, and we'll have to get back to you at a different time. Just trying to focus on sort of the main points we've got with this topic, so that'll be perfect. But we'd love to hear all your comments, all your likes. You know, try and get everyone you can down here. Check it out. You know, if you know someone who has a business who needs some help, you know, everyone needs more purchases, everyone needs more sales, a bit more revenue. Link them to this, and
Yeah, this is the stuff we're covering is great for any kind of online business, online website. Really, this isn't eChem specific. You don't even have to have an online shop, really. The majority of the examples we cover will be e-commerce and product related, because that's the industry we're in and where our knowledge kind of features and focuses on. But again, as Mike says, by the way, that's Mike, I'm Scott.
Hello.
We may as well do the introductions now. We're hoping we've got a few members watching there. So yes, that's Mike, I'm Scott. We're from EKM. We're part of the marketing team, and we focus on kind of working with shops and businesses to help drive sales, to help drive customers to their website.
Yeah, so I mainly work in the PPC section. I'm only account managers, which means all the PPC customers that we do have with EKM, I'm sort of the person in between campaigns being made and the relationship. More of a lot of communication is what I'm a part of. I do have a background in digital marketing, and I have 7 Google certifications. So obviously we've got a bit of knowledge here that we can share with you guys, which I think is really relevant. Yeah, pretty good. And this is Scott. Scott's obviously the lead marketer here. He's the head honcho for marketing. So you're in the right place if you need some advice. And even if you know someone who doesn't have a business right now, you know, it's someone who would be interested in, you know, having their own business, having their own, you know, income, being their own boss, and having them come down here and see it might give them a little bit of inspiration, perhaps maybe to start up, not necessarily with EKM, but to start their own store in general. So I think some good tips to start off strong with, definitely.
Yeah. The reason we're doing it on this topic as well, it's worth pointing out, was that maybe 4 or 6 weeks ago we put a questionnaire out to the EKM shop user base and asked the shop users what kind of common problems they were having with their shop, and if we could create some content around that to kind of assist. And thank you very much for everyone who did kind of comment and feedback on that. We got a number of varied topics. The ones that stood out the most were variations of getting traffic to my website and getting sales on my website. So we kind of bundled that together and centered it around kind of what we're calling SEO and then and PPC, which are 2 methods to drive traffic to your website. And then of course, once they're on your website, what you can be doing to kind of help them along the line. Now obviously, it's quite a big subject and there's a lot of variables involved with it also. We've called this part one because we envisage kind of doing a few more pieces.
Yeah, it's the basic, the foundation really to get going with it. We're going to get a lot more specific in future ones, you know, part 2, part 3, who knows, part 100 hopefully, you know, this goes well, so I'm very excited. But I think a lot of people sort of find digital marketing, you know, online, getting traffic to it, they find it really complicated, you know, sort of, there's a lot to sort of know, I guess, really, to be successful online. And it can be quite, you know, it can put some people off, you know, especially when they're trying to learn things and it's a lot of information coming, they don't know which way to go, which way to turn. So having these first few steps, and you know, like I say, in part 1, it'll start to put all the pieces together for you, so you have a really good understanding on sort of how to go about it. Yeah.
Yeah, we've had a question in from Jimmy Brooks.
Ooh, Jimmy.
Good evening, Jimmy. He's asked, do we offer a PPC package then? Yes, we do. That's part of the team that Mike works on. We can analyse your website, have a look over it, and kind of come up with a bit of a proposal where we can see opportunities where your site can kind of gain some traction in the PPC area.
Of course, yeah. If you were to be taken on by the PPC team as well, obviously we have a few different packages, we can go over them at another time, but as part of the PPC package that we get, as me as your account manager, we actually go over quite a lot of on-site optimizations for your site. So it isn't necessarily just, you know, using AdWords or Facebook, you know, to get people to your site. It's also, once they're on your site, how can we make them convert? How can we get them to purchase more? You know, how can we raise your, you know, average order size? You know, make it bigger. How do we get more revenue from that? So there's a lot of things we look at to really optimize your site and to really build that much-needed trust that customers need when they go into your site. Because if you think about it, you know, it's the first time they've come onto your site, never heard of you before. They need to be able to trust your site and believe, you know, in the company values that you have, that they're going to get the product and it's going to be great quality and easy to get hold of, you know. And I go through and do a big audit with you guys. It'll be a 30-minute audit. We sit down, we talk about your site and how we can get more sales and increase that conversion rate. So yeah, it's a good service that we provide.
Yeah, very well put, Mike. Getting back onto kind of tonight's subject then. Obviously, as we talked about, getting traffic to your website, there are quite a few different methods. 2 of the big ones that we've chosen to highlight this evening are SEO and PPC. It's obviously also worth mentioning email marketing, social media as well. But these 2 often crop up an awful lot when we speak to customers, whether they be brand new startups, people who've been selling for a couple of years, to businesses that we've had with EKM or seen selling online for decades.
Yeah.
These two always come up, and I suppose it's worth me kind of putting out a couple of home truths that PPC has its kind of own commitments and requirements, as does SEO.
Yeah.
We do tend to hear that some people kind of claim they don't have the budget for PPC or don't have any monetary kind of availability to commit to PPC, so they focus on SEO. What I would say is that there are no kind of quick, easy, free rides in this industry. It's not a case of just being able to spin up a website anymore. You'll get found in Google instantly.
You get traffic like the next day, next week, next month. You know, it's not just, you know, PPC obviously means pay per click. So this is the paid traffic that you can.
Yes, good point, Mike. Sometimes we forget that we're not all speaking to digital marketers. So pay per click, which is digital advertising, and you only pay when someone clicks on your advert, which essentially leads them to your website. So you pay when a visitor comes to your website. The idea being that the ad copy and the actual wording on the advert and the targeting of the advert is done to such an extent that the only people clicking on it are people who are likely to purchase.
Yeah, intent to buy, which is good, because previously when people think about marketing, you think about magazines and billboards like the old days. With that, you really are paying for impressions, which is how many people will see it and go buy, not necessarily who will actually go on to purchase. With this, it's no matter if someone sees your ad, it doesn't even matter. You only pay for that traffic coming onto your site. So like I say, it is really good. You can get some really good return on investments with that. So a lot of people think, you know, like you put an ad out there and it's going to cost thousands and thousands of pounds and you don't get anywhere from it. But you're only paying for that real traffic of intent to buy your product. Yeah.
What does SEO stand for, Mike?
So that's search engine optimization. And that's another way to go about it. Obviously, it is, you got the paid method here, you got SEO. I mean, it is free, technically. You don't have to pay, there's no monetary value that goes into it. However, what you do pay is time and it does take a lot of time for SEO. It takes a lot of energy.
Time and knowledge.
Time and knowledge, you know,
It's a personal commitment, isn't it?
you definitely need the knowledge to go through that. Plus, in the SEO side of it, you know, you're dealing with, you know, obviously Google is a very big part of, you know, SEO because, you know, it's an engine optimization, and the engine typically means, you know, it's Google search engine, and to be able to get your site, even if you've been about for, you know, a year, 2 years, you know, most likely you'll be dealing with other brands, other big companies, and they've put so much more time, and in a way, you know, they have all these links, everything will just be optimized in a way where, you know, the average person starting a store really can't compete with it. However, there are still things that you can do, and which we're going to go through later on.
Hence our props. We've
Hence
got
our
some
props.
examples that hopefully we can kind of show you to give you an insight to SEO, because
Yeah.
whilst it sounds like we're being a bit dismissive, we're not. We
Yeah.
think both options are great opportunities to kind
Yeah.
of take your business to the next level or really help grow your business if you're just starting out.
Yeah,
Obviously, there's pros and cons to both. We're going to try and cover a few. Mike's touched on some there
Yeah.
that really, as I said originally, there's no quick, easy wins. You're either kind of committing in a monetary format or you're committing in a kind of personal time, knowledge
yeah.
and efforts where to kind of get off the ground with SEO.
Yeah, and just to note, obviously with SEO, with PPC, it works short term, medium term, long term. With SEO, you know, it's medium term, long term. But if you're in it for the long term, if you have to just open in a store for like a year or so, get a bit of money here, etc., this SEO is really for the ones that are after like a proper business that is going to last, you know, years and years and years. Because you might not get all the traffic right now doing the optimizations, but you know, in 4 months, 6 months, a year, you know, you won't necessarily need as much work with PPC because you've done so much work here, you're getting the actual organic traffic to your site. So they are both, you know, really important.
Yeah, we'd advise that you take up both, but obviously
Yeah.
it depends on each kind of business's circumstance.
Yeah,
As Mike touched on there, PPC can kind of yield results much quicker than SEO, simply
Yeah.
because you can be setting up a Google AdWords account, a Bing ad account,
Bing ad
a
account.
Facebook advertising account within an hour or so, attaching your payment methods, coming up with some kind of ad copy or creatives, and be driving traffic to your website
Yeah.
who could be buying the same day. SEO,
yeah,
it's unlikely it could be that quick.
yeah, of course. Yeah, it does take time. It does take time. But yeah, cool. To continue, we'll go through the next bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So these are some of the points obviously we talked about. We'll just briefly go through them again. So obviously you get personal time with SEO, pros and cons. You get the high competition, big brands, and the good point is though it doesn't cost. And the PPC pros and cons. It is a quick result, a quick route for results. Obviously you can start off really strong with it, and it does. It requires a little bit of investment. That's mainly just through money. Of course, you have to put money down, of course. And the next one is you do get a lot of data that you can use and you can optimize. So your campaigns that you are running, you can see how many people are coming through, whether it's, you know, through mobile or PC, which audiences are doing the best, how much will make you the biggest return through how much you're bidding, for example. So this is just for the people who have just sort of tuned in and sort of missed the first part. Before I just run through that then quickly for you
Yeah,
guys.
for those new kind of watchers there, my name's Scott and this is Mike.
This is Mike.
As Mike touched on there again, one of the things to consider obviously with SEO is essentially what we call choosing your battles.
Yeah.
Because if you're going in and you might have a popular product that you sell, for example, it might be Nike running trainers. To kind of, if someone's searching for Nike running trainers on Google, it's very, very unlikely that you ever rank kind of page 1, even page 2 for that type of term. And after that, it doesn't matter so much, because obviously there's so many established brands and websites selling that product.
Yeah, I mean, it could be anything that even, because quite broad ones, like say watches, for example. There's so many brands out there who put a lot of time and sort of money into these things. They're quite hard to, you know, to really rank with. Where we kind of find that the ones that get the results the easiest is, you know, when you get the smaller like niches. So rather than selling like something like watches, you're selling something quite specific to like a certain like passion. So whether it's with animals, like animal themed outfits or whatever like that. It's just an example of certain things which it's not that competitive. So if you have products like that or phone cases, you know, in a certain style or whatever it is, you know, those ones are a lot less competitive. So the results that you can get will be much quicker than going for something with like watches. or you know, because these big brands are really going to take over that,
Yeah.
that side of it.
But that's not to say you should like give up if you're selling Nike running trainers.
Yeah.
You've just got to be a bit more creative in the kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
content
you
you're
can definitely
creating
still do it.
and the search terms you are competing for to try and rank. So for example, rather than deciding that, you know, you're going to put all your time and effort into rank for just Nike running shoes,
Yeah,
you might be a sportswear shop based in Lancashire, similar
Yeah.
to us, based in the Northwest, and you could create a piece of blog content that actually covers the 5 most picturesque running routes
Yeah,
within
yeah.
Lancashire,
yeah,
and you could kind of actually go out on kind of a test run with the latest pair of Nike running trainers and go and do an interactive review on a route,
Yeah.
detail all the route, put that together, do that over a couple of different routes, and you've got 5 different routes there where you've tested 5 different Nike running trainers,
yeah,
give kind of your own pros and cons on them, take
Yeah.
some pictures while you're going, even take your phone out with you and record a little video of it, you know, in the wild. It's unique content. Google loves that sort of stuff.
yeah,
It's interesting for people to watch and consume. Google loves that stuff. And then you can kind of optimize it around when you're kind of, that article can link back to some of your products and some of your categories to advertise those products.
yeah,
And then when people are searching for running routes Lancashire, you know, the people who are running in Lancashire probably use running trainers.
yeah. Very specific to those ones. Yeah, the long tail keyword, things like that. 100%, you can get a lot of traffic through going that sort of route there, rather than having it like the broad ones. You know, like Scott says, having that sort of specific thing into that. You know, and those people have a really high intent to buy as well. If you've got certain running shoes for running about, you know, in like forest or you know very outdoor rather than like urban environments, you know, it's a very specific sort of thing. So you can rank for those and get a lot of traffic, and they have a bigger intent to buy rather than someone who's just looking for running shoes.
And it's the type of content that will get shared on social media
Yeah.
and via email as well. So it will kind of naturally and organically get promoted by people who consume that content.
Yeah, of course. Perfect.
On to the next slide.
Cool. Yeah. So this is one of the things we talk about. We see a lot of EKM stores. Obviously, you know, my job is to go through and sort of optimize these stores. What can we do to, you know, raise the conversion rate or the SEO rankings, things like this? How can we get more traffic to the site? One of the things that we sort of notice with some sort of stores, and we sort of see it everywhere. You know, we do it with ourselves. You know, we've got stores ourselves. You know, sometimes we can fall into this as well. If we could have quite sort of vague titles, like they're a bit too short. Whereas we feel like we can, you know, we'll show you the before and after to what we feel like can really optimize like a product title. So these are some of the examples.
Yeah, and one thing I would say is have a little look at your product names. And if you
Yeah.
can take that product name off that product page and just write it on a piece of paper and show it to someone you don't know or doesn't know that you sell these types of products,
Yeah,
and ask them, what is this? What is this that I'm selling? What is this item? What does this mean to you?
yeah,
And if they can't tell you correctly what that item is that you're selling, you need to work on your product names.
yeah.
We see it so much, and it is an easy kind of trap to fall into, because especially when you're setting up a new website,
Yeah,
what we found is business owners and shop owners will do is they set it up starting from the home page, and it makes logical sense. So you
Yeah.
might start a category called baby clothes, and then within baby clothes you've got one for baby rompers, and then within that you've got boys rompers, and then the product that you've added into boys rompers is the sky blue romper.
yeah.
However, they've just called the product sky blue.
Yeah,
If you start at the very start, it makes total sense.
yeah,
But what happens is people don't always start at the start, or we don't want them to start at the start.
Yeah.
Ideally, you want your baby blue romper to appear in the Google search engines.
Yeah.
However, you never mentioned the word romper in there, you never mentioned the word baby, etc.
yeah. Doesn't make much sense. Yeah.
So if you need to be able to take your product name away from the context it sits in, and it still makes sense.
Yeah, that's also one of the big ways to sell the product itself. Obviously, the customer needs to know from another side of it. They need to know everything about that product. You know, you need to have every little tiny bit of information. It needs to be described, not just with, you know, words, but the pictures too. You can't just have one image for a product, because let's say if it's a handbag, you got one image from the front, we need it from the side, like what's it made of, what's the quality like, how does it look inside, is it nice inside, is it just a picture from here? If you go into a store and you see a product, you don't look at it from one angle and then make a purchase. You go up, and having all this information on there, especially the descriptions are a big one, is it really does describe what the product is, and it's another way to sort of sell it to you. There's a lot of confidence you can put into a visitor if you give them as much information as you can, rather than just uploading the product, giving it a quick title and then leaving. You're really putting a lot of passion and focus on what you're selling. Definitely.
Yeah. As we say, we've got a couple of examples here. So have a little think. We've got blue scarf. I suppose it's vague, but you kind of...
Scarf, it's blue.
Yeah, it's a scarf, it's blue. But I mean, again, if you were to like walk into a shop, blue scarf, what
kind of scarf?
Blue scarf, yeah.
What's it made of? What type of scarf is it?
Who's it for?
Who's it for? Yeah, who's it by? What's the model of it? What's the type of it?
Yeah, and this one again. These are we've taken these from EKM shops we've seen in the last few weeks in preparation for this. These aren't ones we've made up. Yeah. Union Jack. Now, obviously, you know what the Union Jack is.
Yeah.
But this was a product called Union Jack. Should we give the reveal?
Yeah, let's do the reveal. So these are. So the original, we have the blue scarf. So this is a couple of ways that you can go about optimizing your product titles. So we've got the Coast Aubrey Diamante scarf in navy blue. So we've organised this in a way where it gives as much detail as we can. So we have the person where it's from the collection, the Coast Aubrey collection. The model type is Diamante. It's a scarf, and it's in navy blue. So obviously, someone seeing this, let's say, doing a search, and they come across this item into Google, there's no way they're going to click something that just says blue scarf. But as soon as they can see exactly who it's by, they get the brand here, the exact model, you get the scarf, you get the exact same colour. It's not just blue, it's navy blue. It's how much detail you're putting into these descriptions, which is a big factor. And you've got the Union Jack, obviously the Union Jack one, what it actually was, is like it's a Union Jack funny dog outfit. So it's actually a costume for dog, but it's in the theme of the Union Jack.
Obviously, it makes a bit more sense when you see the picture on the product page, because it was an English bulldog sat there in a Union Jack outfit.
Yeah.
But what we're trying to do is achieve some visibility on more than just that website.
Yeah.
We want these products to be ranking in search engines and make sense when people see the, say, for example, product names as the page title in the search engine to click through.
Yeah.
And of course, because we're introducing new terms into the product, you get a lot more visibility.
Yes.
Because people might be searching for a Coast scarf or a Coast blue scarf.
Yeah.
So you're actually becoming much more visible in search engines and kind of getting yourself kind of more recognition out there. Again, with the Union Jack kind of example there, if people are looking for funny dog outfits, you're now in that kind of category.
Yeah.
If they're looking for Union Jack dog outfit, again, you're in that category. You are very unlikely to be found for that.
Yeah. I think you're not just talking to Google search engine, you're talking to the customer as well. So you need to have something that Google can say, hey, I know what this product is, I know what this product page is all about, and that's how ranking sort of works. Is the more information you have about your site, the more details you can give, the more you can tell Google exactly what this is, the higher they're going to rank you, because they understand what that page is and they trust it more. But rather than just, you see a lot on Amazon, which happens quite a lot, and eBay happens too, is they'll just sort of fill their product titles and all that with just keywords. It'll be keyword. Where here we've got the good keywords, exactly what we need, but we're also not just communicating to search engines, we're communicating to actual people as well, because no one's just going to buy keyword. We're also selling the product directly and giving them information about it, which talks to humans and to the search engine.
Yeah, very well put.
So that's perfect. Do you have any more slides?
I think that was the end, giving our examples there.
That's
I
right.
think what it might be worth touching on is also that was how to optimise product names. For those just tuning in, my name's Scott. This is Mike, we're from EKM. We're doing a bit of a Facebook Live on how you can drive traffic and then therefore gain sales from it on your online shop.
Of course,
We're encouraging that with questions come in. We do have a question in from Get Dressed for Battle.
Good name.
Yeah, they've asked, what do you think a £200 a month PPC budget would get in conversions if done right?
Oof, well, I guess we are moving on to PPC now, I guess, so we can talk about it.
Yeah, by all means answer that.
So obviously it depends. One of the questions that people ask, I think I'm pointing out before, is, people say, sort of go off the question a little bit, but I will go back to it, obviously. With costs, PPC, obviously, think PPC costs too much. It's a lot of money to put. But the real answer that you need to ask, really, is the real question is, what kind of return will I get with this money? So you say, £200 a month, is that a good budget to go with? With us, a PPC team that we've got right here, the minimum budget that we go with is £300. It depends on what route you go with it. You can go through, things like Facebook, things like that, which we'll talk about later on. Those things you can put, a small amount of money on it and sort of get a lot of results back from it. Whereas with PPC, there's a lot of optimization that needs to go into it. So like I say, you can start off with a small amount. We just recommend personally from EKM and how we do it is we usually start off with just £300.
Yeah, because we average it out about £10 a day budget.
Yeah, £10 a day, yeah. And obviously it depends what sort of marketing you're going to do. Here at EKM, we do AdWords, search campaigns, and we do shopping, and we do remarketing with Facebook. We find that the best one for e-commerce itself is usually, Google Shopping. The clicks are a lot less there. So for £200, I mean, you could get things going. Definitely, you could test out how it goes for the first 3 weeks, spending £200, see what sort of information and data you get from it. Obviously, but just saying we would advise £300.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The great thing, and Mike touched on this earlier, that with PPC, you get so much data and reporting from it, so you can see pretty much what every kind of click's costing you, how many clicks you're getting, how many people saw it, and therefore kind of the amount of as a percentage of how many people clicked it compared to how many they saw it.
Yeah.
From then in, you can kind of see per click how much revenue that actually drove, so you can attribute your kind of spend to a revenue level, and then you can obviously scale it up from there. I suppose, really, in terms of the overall budget for PPC, once you've got your campaign optimized, there isn't a budget. It's kind of as much money as you can throw at it, because the overall aim is for every pound you spend on advertising, on digital advertising, it returns 5, 6, 8, 15 pounds. So you're kind of like, you're just trying to get more and more £1 to get your £15 back.
Yeah, there's a good point I had down before where, like you're saying, the investment that you get from it. Let's say if you had a product that was, £100, and let's say you had the product costs, and you got the taxes, and you've got delivery, and you've got transaction fees. Let's say from that, if you make a sale, you get £30 from it. So you spent £70 on the product costs and all those things. If you can put £10 of that £30 on putting it into marketing, and you're getting £20 back each time, that's you getting a return on that investment every single time. So, it's always going to be well worth it. If you can get that return, no matter what kind of PPC that you do, as long as you have that return, like you say, is £200 enough? I'd go test and see, have a look, go out there and, get experts to do it, or, try and learn it yourself and to see if you can get that return on investment.
Mike makes a really good point there. Obviously, the stuff we're talking about now is you've got two options to do it, really, both in terms of PPC and the SEO. There are numerous resources out there to kind of learn all this yourself. We'd encourage it as EKM team members. We want our kind of ultimate goal is success for every EKM shop, and I suppose that extends to everyone, really. If you're not on EKM, we wish you the best of luck as well. And we'd advise that you spec yourself up in this, even if it's to a base level, just so that if you decide that, I don't have the time personally to commit to this, I'm going to use an agency, or I'm going to use EKM to manage my PPC, my digital advertising. You've got an understanding, and you kind of know what the reports mean when you're getting back, and you can hold kind of. We're not going to try and bamboozle you with jargon anyway, but at least you can have an understanding when Mike rings you up and say, this is kind of your return on ad spend this week. This is your click-through rate. It means this, but you're going to already have a foundation understanding of it. If you've got the time to kind of skill up the knowledge on this, watch some YouTube videos, read some of our support guides, more of our content coming your way. You can kind of do this yourself. There's no actual cost to set up a Google AdWords account.
It's free.
You pay for the actual click on the advert. The same with SEO. There will be some kind of SEO courses that you can buy, but obviously you're not going to be at that level. You can start with, there's so much free content out there in terms of blogs, YouTube videos. You can learn so much without having to invest any money on both topics, SEO and PPC.
Yeah.
It's just, if you don't have the time for it, if you'd rather focus on your business or kind of not get involved with learning on it, by all means get a third party involved to kind of help your business with this. The takeaway of it all really is you need to be doing it either via yourself or kind of via a third party.
Yeah, I guess we could talk about a couple of different types of PPC. Sort of, especially ones we talk about the ones that we do here, and give you sort of an idea of what they are. Obviously, it is more of like a broad sort of foundation view of what they are. Because I know a lot of people not too sure, what PPC is.
I suppose Mandy's got a question.
Oh,
there
Mandy's
as well.
got one.
She says, "Do you do that for us in the PPC package bought from EKM?"
Yeah, which part?
What we were talking about. I'm not sure what we were talking about when you asked that, Mandy. So if you could just kind of follow up on that question and clarify what it is. I suppose Mike can give a quick run through of exactly what we do, and maybe we cover it in that. If it was optimizing the product names, we wouldn't actually optimize them for you, but certainly during kind of the catch-up calls and that, Mike would go through and look at your product names and be going, okay then, you see how you've called this Union Jack? What we actually need to work towards is getting it to Union Jack themed funny costume for dogs or for English Bulldog, if you want to be even more specific, if that's what type of outfit it is.
We always throw it out there. If there's going to be a sequence of how the title should be, it should typically be the brand should always be first, then it's like the model, so depending on what it is, then the item, and then it would be some sort of attribute to it, whether it's for women or for men, or whether it's a colour in navy blue, whatever it is. That's the best way to, rather than having like the two-word thing. The bigger the title, obviously you can get, you don't want a massive one, but you want it straight to the point and what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, the kind of things obviously we do here, sort of talking about, we do AdWords search, we do shopping, and we also do Facebook. The ones that we focus on here more so because we do feel like there's a bigger return in general, depending obviously it's different what kind of market you're in, what kind of things you're selling. If you get like trade goods, like lawnmowers, things like that, that typically can be better on search. And then for clothes or whatever it is, that could be good on shopping. So to give you an idea of what shopping is, what we mean by AdWords shopping, because maybe not everyone sort of knows exactly that, what it is. So if you ever go into Google and if you type in running shoes into Google, you'd get all the pictures at the top, and it'll be products, and you'd have the picture, it'll be a title, it'll be the actual price of the item. So that's Google Shopping. That's basically, we don't as advertisers, we don't make what picture shows or what title. That is a feed that gets thrown into Google, and that's directly from your site itself. So let's say if you make a change to that title, then when it resets and refreshes the next day, that title will be completely different. So that's completely down to you, and obviously, it's down to you as store owners to make that title as best you can, because that's the one that's going to be advertised out there. In terms of search is more so just like how the organic is listed. So it's not pictures, anything like that. You might see the paid ads, you might click them accidentally because you don't really know if that's organic or not. But it's typically the ads at the top, and you have some at the bottom as well. They're the search ads, so there's no pictures on there or anything like that. There's no prices, but you get to choose exactly what ad copy you have as well. So if you have an ad, rather than someone sees organically, they see your product page show up organically, and it's running shoes, blah blah blah. We can change it, so we can have running shoes 20% off. The best, manufacturers in the UK or whatever it is, free shipping, and we can have all these call to actions in there, which if someone's looking for it, it looks a lot more appealing to the normal organic stuff. And if they click on that, no matter how many people see it, doesn't matter. They only pay if it clicks.
Yeah, and I suppose that does touch on what Mandy's followed up.
Oh,
Thank you, Mandy.
Mandy, I didn't see.
It was getting ads right and launch them.
Right.
So yes, we would.
Yes, of course.
As part of our paid advertising management service, we would kind of control all of that for you in terms of we'd set up your ad account. We can actually create the ad copy and touch on, as Mike touched on there, that he would be writing in there things that can actually drive clicks and conversions. So we'd optimize them to make sure that when people were searching for example, again, Nike running shoes, you would only appear when they searched Nike running shoes and not Nike
Yeah.
trainers or Nike backpacks, for example.
Yeah.
It would be quite specific, and because of all the data available and reporting within AdWords,
Yeah.
we can actually see that when people actually search for Nike running shoes, actually they're at the more research stage of their journey, and they're actually trying to find which running shoes they should buy. They're not ready to buy yet. They're just trying to find out what's available.
Yeah.
So it might be that we don't actually advertise on that. What we advertise on is when someone specifically types Nike Lunar Runner 3s in blue, size 9s. And what we actually do then is have an advert that appears just for that.
Yeah.
And then it comes up, and as Mike says, we'd have that, get your Nike Lunar Runner nows delivered tomorrow, etc. Click here, and it goes through. And it's much more likely that that will drive a sale than, say, the generic example of Nike running shoes.
Yeah, it depends on the intent of where someone's at in the funnel. So if someone's searching for running shoes, it might be anything. It might be about guides or blogs, or maybe they just want to have a look what's sort of out there. And the more the search gets bigger, like I say, Scott said then, looking at the actual model and the actual size, they've already done the research. They know exactly what they want, what model they want, what brand they want, what size they want. The intent to buy is so much bigger at that point, and that's when we throw the ads on there. Because we don't want to waste money getting clicks where people aren't, we know that they're probably not likely to buy, but we do want to bid on the ones where they have a really high intent to buy, and that's where the money comes from. So like I say, if we can spend a tiny bit of money to make you a lot of money because we're targeting the right people at the right time in the right place on the right device, that's where we get involved and spend a lot of time optimizing what our ads do and where they show.
Yeah, I suppose it's a point worth mentioning that actually the goal is never to just get traffic to your website. It's qualified traffic. It's traffic that can be turned into buyers, into revenue for your business. There's no point having hundreds and hundreds of visitors if they never get over the finish line and actually make a purchase from you.
Yeah.
Got a question from Dave. Does the order of words in the product name matter?
It does depend. It should be organised each way. In terms of Google Shopping, if you are doing ads through Google Shopping and things like that, it does matter quite a lot. It can't be a short, like we went through before, blue scarf. It has to be in a way where it's like the brand, the model, who it's for, the attributes that you've got with it. It has to be really specific. You can't just have a really short title in there, because it doesn't sell it, and it doesn't look like something that you'd want to click. And that's also part of the SEO. If someone sees your ad and doesn't click it, if your site's got a really high click-through rate, as in if your ads are coming up, if your ads or SEO, even if you're coming up organically, if your ad seems to be getting clicked quite a lot, well, Google realizes that you must be really relevant for that search and that intent. So what they'll do is they'll actually bump you up even higher. So yeah, your titles and descriptions have a huge part. So it should be optimized.
Yeah. I don't think it's not something you should lose sleep over. You're calling it, as Mike touched on, probably brand first, and then the model, and then some attributes of it. We'll post some links onto this either later on tonight or tomorrow.
You want more details?
We've got I think Google have actually done a guide that they give the recommended kind of structure of a product name for Google Shopping. It's worth getting the balancing act right between, as Mike's mentioned before, you've got to bear in mind that there's humans and people actually visiting the site as well, and it's not just pleasing the bots of Google. But I know they use examples. For example, if you're selling a Samsung TV, you would want to start off with Samsung and then possibly the model number, so like 52Y7000, which represents like the screen size, the model type, and the series that it currently is, and then it would be like 42-inch 4K HD widescreen television. And they would want it in that structure rather than, for example, the model number first and then Samsung stuck on the end. I don't think you're going to get massively penalised if you mix it up, but if everyone else is kind of sticking to that method, it's better to follow that status quo as well.
No, of course. I got a question from Linda Brown. She asks, do EKM use or recommend the use of pixel marketing? So I imagine that goes into Facebook. I think what she's talking about there with the pixel. If you're talking about the pixel marketing, as in to have a pixel active with your Facebook marketing, and 100%, there is a part in EKM in the back end where you can take your pixel from Facebook, and there's a space, so you don't have to worry about the coding, where it goes, before the header, at the end of it, what tag to go in. Literally just copy and paste straight into the back end of your store, and the feature's called Google Tools. And then from there you can copy and paste.
There's two. There's one for Google, which is Google Tools, and there's
Google
a Facebook Pixel tool.
Yeah.
Both have got support guides walking you through it step by step on how to do it.
Yeah.
But it's for the Facebook one, for example, on EKM, it's so easy.
It
you just
really
copy and
easy.
paste the Pixel ID number from Facebook, paste it into the box, press update, and then that'll start feeding all your site information about visitor behaviour from your shop to Facebook.
I guess we could talk about what the Pixel is specifically. It's in terms of Facebook. Obviously, you can do marketing, you can do PPC on it. Very big. It's getting even bigger now. In terms of Google AdWords is the big one. That's like most money's put into that, most revenue, most outcomes put into that. What's now is rising now is Facebook is almost getting there as well. That's the second biggest PPC where you can go about. And one of the great tools that they've got is this thing called the Pixel. What the Pixel does, you put that in the back end of your store, and if anyone sees your product, let's say, the Pixel will actually store that data basically. So let's say someone sees your product on your site, EKM site, and then let's say they go on to Facebook. Well, you can now do something called remarketing. So now you can show that exact product, and Facebook will bring it straight over to Facebook, and you can show that exact product that someone saw. And the good thing with this is, the more people say that it takes, like 4 to 5 times of them being exposed to your brand or product before they make a purchase. So a lot of people don't buy the first time. So, it's like 95% or so won't buy the first time when they come to your store. Having that Pixel on there and being able to show that product directly onto them, onto their Facebook on a personal setting, that the conversion rate is a lot higher for remarketing. So that's something that we use. We combine them together.
Yeah. And again, of course, the actual spend levels probably reduce quite a bit as well, because you're not kind of advertising to everyone. You are advertising to people who've already showed intent by kind of viewing your products, or possibly even you can take it a step further and target those people who kind of started the checkout but didn't finish, for example. It's really, really powerful. So you definitely want to be using your Facebook Pixel, even if you're not at that level where you feel confident to kind of start actually running paid ads. It's worth getting the Pixel installed on your website, whether it be EKM or any website, because the data and history that can be forming and building, even just the analytics off the back of it can give you quite a lot of information about the types of people coming to your thing. And don't worry about one thing, because it's been big in the news obviously this year, is privacy. It doesn't actually show any personal information, so it's not as if it like links to Facebook profiles and says, Joe Blogs from Liverpool was on your shop looking at this product. It's anonymised, but what you can do is remarket to those people on Facebook. You won't find out which people it is, but Facebook will do the bit in between and show those adverts back to Joe Blogs if he didn't purchase. And you can even chuck him a little offer, 5% off, and it gets them back.
I think we've all been attacked by the Pixel, haven't we? We go on a website, whether Amazon, whether like that, and the next day, an hour later, we've got that exact product being shown to us over and over again. That's pretty much what it is. We've all experienced it, we've all seen it. Maybe we didn't know exactly what it was, but that is basically the Pixel at work.
We've got quite a few questions coming in, so we'll try and do our best to work through them. Get Dressed for Battle is back. We are on the EKM established plan. Will there be a cost for EKM to manage our PPC? Yes, there would be. Obviously, our PPC team and the account managers that you work with on established are completely different teams, and obviously have their own kind of experience and skill sets. Our established account managers obviously will work with you to kind of get your business into good shape. With regards to managing your paid advertising, it is kind of a full-time role in itself. There's a lot to it, and obviously keeping active in that. It's a different team, and we make sure that they've kind of got all their attention on it. So it would be a different cost. By all means, obviously speak to your account manager, and we can set up a little quick review to make sure, if you're already doing paid advertising, that everything is set up in the correct manner. We can check that your Facebook Pixel set up. We can check the Google equivalent of that that
Yeah,
is
yeah.
right and it's passing the correct information.
Yeah, no,
I
100%.
suppose a quick recap. My name's Scott. This is Mike. We're from EKM. This video is for anyone who wants some advice and tips on kind of how to drive traffic and sales to their online shop. It's applicable whether you use EKM or not.
Yeah, for everyone.
Yeah, for everyone. There will be a recording of this that we post up on our Facebook page afterwards, and we'll also make sure that at some point tomorrow it's up on YouTube. So kind of feel free to comment on that, share it. Obviously, make sure you subscribe to our social channels if not, so you don't miss out on a future content.
Yes.
This is live. We had some props, and to prove
ran out
it is
props.
actually live, some of the questions that we get fed to are on a laptop in front of us,
Yeah.
which is to our kind of horror is telling us that it's going to restart to update to do some Windows updates. So bear with me a moment while I just cancel this message off.
There you go. Perfect.
I'll tell. There we go. Windows
Awesome.
updates. We'll try again in an hour.
Oh, there's actually a quite interesting question. It's Jimmy Brooks. Jimmy. Can the EKM packages use our existing AdWords account that is already running and has data? It's a good question, of course. With us, we can use some things. One of them is a Merchant Center. If you have a Google Merchant Center, that's the one that is all to do with Google Shopping and taking your products, taking and putting them into Google and then showing them straight from your store. We can use that existing one. How it comes down to the AdWords account itself, we'd rather create one sort of from scratch in a way, because how we're going to structure and really strategize, your account is going to be very unique. So building it from the ground up is really, really important for us, because if we were to jump in and sort of make changes, things like that, and then there's something in the back end that we've not, maybe a setting that might be there in the background, and that might skew the whole information, all the data that we've got. So creating it from scratch really is ideal for us, because we can start from the base down and make sure it's done 100% correctly and the way it should.
At the same time, it's not a set in stone requirement. Obviously, we can work with your account. And to be clear, when we're talking about setting up a second account, it would be set up in conjunction with you, and it would be your account.
Yeah,
it would just be your fresh account. We wouldn't be creating an account you don't have access to, or we hold to ransom, for example.
You are the admin to the account. You complete hold. And the AdWords that you do have, the existing account you have, us to be able to have access to that, we kind of see all the information and data from that, so that will help us going forwards. And plus, because we are EKM is Google Premier partners, we also get £120 promotional code of it. So if you were to put money down, say you spend £120, then we'll put that code on and you get an extra £120 for free. That's one of the things that we get.
The following month. So we can't apply that to any existing accounts, but if we're setting up a new account for kind of shop owners and working with that, then we can apply that, and the second month you benefit from that credit.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of technical reasons, and there's also that.
There's a lot of good benefits as well from setting it up.
But if you prefer that we always keep it in that same account, we can work to that.
Yeah,
we just have to kind of any kind of curveballs that come up because of a setting that was set up previously. We'd just have to agree that that kind of has to be taken into account. So we've got another question here from John Childs. I run a promotional products website where my product names are pretty boring, like Durham mug or 15cm ruler. Should I include the word promotional in each product name?
Yes and no. In the actual product title itself, I'd say no, but going into a bit more specific into it, now we get into sort of what we're going to talk about in part 2, which is more so sort of the meta titles itself. So that's what actually shows, specifically in Google, you can actually change how, so if you've got typically, if someone searches and your product comes up into Google, right now it'll come up, the product title and description. You can actually change what it says on there, so you can actually make, if it's going to be, the best mug, offer, 20% off deal, whatever like that, and to draw people in like that. That's something we'll talk about a bit more advanced that we're going to talk about in part 2. But I wouldn't use that in your normal description on your product page. I'd leave that how it is on the store.
I think it comes back to maybe that example I gave about the running trainers as well. If you've got very generic product names that you can't jazz up the same, then think about how you can market those products in different ways. So coming up with creative content that references those products, that links back to those products, and try and bring traffic and visitors in via that piece of content rather than directly to the product page. So again, if you're kind of doing custom branding for the promotional products, for example, what you might be able to do is put together a blog post or some kind of content on your site, maybe a little video that you can put on YouTube or Facebook, kind of giving ideas for, you know, quirky, personalised gifts for Secret Santa. And if you can, maybe your shop allows you to upload a picture, which then you print on the mug and send out, you can kind of like, for whatever, £7, £10, you can get your co-worker a picture of your face on their mug for Christmas and the Secret Santa. And if you come up with 5 or 6 different examples with kind of quirky on that, maybe you can get some traction that way and share it that way. And if it links back to the product and kind of goes to the product page, you're driving traffic to it that way, rather than trying to find people searching for a Durham mug. We agree it would be difficult, but it's kind of coming up with creative ways around that. Even if you maybe go to a category page and optimise that, trying to get some traffic to a category page rather than the individual products.
Yeah, oh, perfect. Cool, we've got a question by Peter, and he says, in Google search results, sometimes I see, let me just move this back so I can see the question a bit more clearly. Cool, so in Google search results, sometimes I see products via EKM website showing product review rating stars, which I like to see. However, this tends to be rare. Most of my results do not include the review stars, even though they exist. Any advice on changes to improve the review visibility? So you're actually talking to the man which actually makes all of the EKM adverts and things like that. So
yes, I suppose if we're taking it right, are we saying the EKM website, our website?
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
.com?
So when EKM shows up in Google search results, there's a rating.
Yes.
Underneath it, yeah.
Okay, so there's a few ways that you can actually achieve that kind of what you're asking there, Peter.
Yeah.
Ideally, if you start getting product reviews on individual products, and you are using a standard EKM theme, they are all set up to automatically feed into Google's kind of system, and over time, as it ranks that product in the search engine and people search for it, if a shopper has bought that product and left a review on it, it will display next to that kind of product listing with the number of stars that shopper left. When it comes to Google ads, for example, that appear in the first few sections at the top, that's slightly different. They are what called kind of business or seller ratings, really. And they are driven from third-party review platforms. Google itself sometimes allows you to leave a review. Sometimes, for example, if you search for a business and it comes up on the right-hand side with their address and contact details, there'll be a little link that says review this business. You can click that, and as a Google user, leave it a 5-star review and leave a comment, and it will feed in from that. And what any company can do is collect third-party reviews via other platforms such as reviews.co.uk, which EKM are working towards kind of integrating a bit better into the platform. Another option you may have heard of is Trustpilot. And if they are authorised by Google, which those 2 examples are, any reviews you get left on that platform, on that site, feed back into Google, and it's automatically picked up by Google AdWords. And when that ad appears at the top, it will appear with the star rating. There are a few like terms and conditions attached, such as your review's got to be within at least no longer than 12 months old, and you have to have over 30 reviews before it starts showing. But our advice would be to kind of have that in the back of your mind, that if you're going to start doing paid advertising, look at your options with regards to a review kind of third-party platform. As I say,
from the start.
We're working with a couple of partners to be able to kind of integrate that with EKM, so when you get an order on your EKM platform, you can automatically send an invite 4 or 5 days later, whatever setting you choose, to say, you know, how did you find the service? Please leave us a review, which will then feed back. If it's purely products, you can do that now already on EKM. Just encourage customers to leave reviews, and it'll all take care of itself.
Yes, perfect. I think there is a specific list in which third-party reviews that they take, isn't it? And you went through some of them, didn't you? So like Yell and a few others out there. So like I say, from the start, from the get-go, we'd always recommend, and a lot of businesses do this, it's actually a really good strategy. If someone wants to make a purchase on your site, is to use email marketing. And once they get the product, like maybe wait like 7 days, once they've got the product and they've been able to, open it up and do whatever with it, is to ask them for a review, to come back to your site and leave a review and like I say, a third party rating system, because, you could just have the product, make the sale and just leave it like that. But if you go that little extra step, that extra rating is going to bring more people to it eventually. The conversion rate is going to be, increased slightly every so bit. So working on it from the start is a really good idea. But it's a good question, very good question.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. Another question in from Mandy Cooper. How do you install the Pixel on the website? What we'll do is we'll link to the guides in the comments of our Facebook video. We've got some guides that actually take you, if you're on eCamm, step by step on where to go, where to copy that code from, and where to just paste it into your eCamm shop.
Yes.
If you're not on eCamm, then we might have to pick up this conversation offline, because obviously it's different for every single platform.
Yeah, of course. But where to put the actual Pixel code on your site? With us, we make it really easy.
Yeah.
There's like a space right there, just copy and paste. Other sites, you have to go into the coding, get into certain lines, and it gets a bit more technical.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if you're struggling, Mandy, as always, just pick up the phone or drop an email to our support team.
Yeah.
Obviously, every eCamm plan comes with customer support, and you can just get in touch with them and they'll walk you through it if you don't fancy doing it on the guide.
Yeah, perfect.
When is part two?
That's a good question, John. When is
John,
part
good
two?
question. I mean, we haven't even finished part one yet, but
yeah.
we
John
must
loves
be-
it so much.
Yeah,
or maybe he hates part one. He wants to go to part two.
Yeah,
Something like that. We don't know yet. We're gonna get another time for it. We're gonna get it posted after this. We're gonna see what sort of responses we get, and hopefully be a part two. And
Yeah,
get more in depth.
if you've obviously found some benefit from part one,
Yeah.
please do leave us a comment. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know your feedback. You can obviously leave a comment on our Facebook wall as well after the recording if you're watching this further down the line. We'd love your feedback.
Yeah,
Kind of things that we could maybe do slightly differently. Obviously, we do have some other topics that we want to cover. Mike touched on it, stuff like meta titles.
Yeah.
It sounds technical, it's not. It's a bit like optimizing your product name, but it's in a slightly different place with a few slight different kind of approaches. But
it's just as easy as changing your actual title. It's just a bit more in the back end. It sounds really complicated, things like that, but luckily you have the eCamm guys like us to sort of go through, especially in the next few parts. And we're going to make it, dead easy, not complicated at all, step by step. We'll go through it all, and by the end of it, by whatever part we get up to, in the future, you'll be equipped with all the knowledge and information you need going forward to, have that really big, start in your sales career. Sales start,
yeah, we'll probably wrap this up now. It's worth mentioning that obviously, if we haven't answered any questions, what we'll do is we'll get back to you within at least 24 hours. We'll just reply to the questions there on the comments. We'll try and put together maybe some little short clips of snippets from this.
Yeah.
Or at least we'll get some pictures of the examples we've got and get them on our blog or our support centre. We'll drop a link in again the comments tomorrow to that, and just cover off maybe a few kind of bits of transcripts on the key points that we want you to take away from it, in case you've not managed to take notes and we've been talking a bit fast.
Cool.
Thank you all very much for kind of tuning in tonight. We hope you found it useful.
Awesome.